Hello everybody, hope you guys are all enjoying today. Today we're going to be looking at your February 2020 forecast here, and this is going to include your temperature and precipitation anomaly forecast, as well as your overall forecast at the very end of the video. Also, if you do want a personal forecast, I will be answering all of your comments down below, so definitely if you do want a personal forecast for your area, just comment down below, and I will definitely respond to you. I answer all my comments, and I'll definitely give you your personal forecast for the month of February, as well. Consider subscribing and turn on notifications so you don't miss an upload. I do upload daily, and definitely you can go check out my channel. I do upload these videos daily, and I try to do the best forecast that I possibly can do, and that it also includes me making my own snowfall and rainfall forecast for you guys. So definitely check out my channel and see if you want to subscribe. It's down below. Now, here is my temperature anomaly forecast for February. Now, this is your temperature anomaly forecast. This is where you're seeing slightly above average conditions if you're in this yellow area, and that's over the parts of the southwest, south central United States and into the far southeastern United States, where I am expecting some slightly above average conditions. But this isn't going to be crazy warmth if you're just in this yellow shade. You will still have a couple days where you're up below average, and I think especially as you get into the northern southwest area and kind of into the central Rockies, you could definitely have a couple days that are slightly below average, even moderately below average. But on paper, it should be slightly above average for these areas. Now, in this moderately above average area, this orange shade is where I think you're going to be seeing this more intense heat or warm air for the month of February, and I also think this is going to be where you're going to have more days that are above average on paper here. So that should tilt you pretty far above average, or at least a couple degrees above average in these areas. Now, here's your below average area, and this is for parts of the north central, midwestern, and Great Lakes area of the United States, as well as the Tennessee Valley, where I am expecting you to see some below average or colder conditions in these areas, where you could have a couple days that are fairly and far below average, and potentially a couple areas in the north central United States could get a couple days where you're double digits below zero. We'll have to see, and I am eyeing up some possibility of that as you get into the early to mid-February time frame, and we'll have to see about that, and I'll definitely make a video on that as we get closer to this event. It's too far out to say if that will or will not occur. Now, getting into your precipitation forecast here, this can show you where you're going to be wetter and drier here, and this includes snowfall and rainfall as well. So that's something we have to point out, as this time of year you're seeing snowfall and rainfall, and sometimes it gets a little bit confusing. Now, over parts of the southwest and south central United States, as well as parts of the Midwest and Great Lakes states, you will be expecting some slightly below average conditions as far as rainfall and snowfall, and in these areas, it won't be overwhelmingly dry, but it's just gonna be maybe half an inch to an inch below average on paper here. So definitely one storm or a storm or two could tilt you above average. So precipitation is I always say is one of those harder things to predict if you are making a monthly or a weekly forecast or a seasonal forecast. It's even harder to predict because a couple storms tilt you just just that little bit above average, and so this is why precipitation is one of those harder things. So I definitely have the least certainty in that Midwest area. So those areas could definitely see above average or at least average. So definitely something that we're going to have to watch out for. But for now, I'm going to put you guys under below average. Now, we even have some above average area, and this is for parts of the southeastern and mid-Atlantic coastal areas, as well as parts of the north central United States, including Minnesota, the Dakotas, and Montana, where I am expecting you guys to be or slightly above average. So not too noticeable, not too crazy above average, but definitely on paper it should be above average. For parts of the southeast and mid-Atlantic states, this is where I have increased confidence in you guys being above average. You're going to have these storm tracks that kind of ride up the Appalachians, or some that even, like we've seen multiple times this winter, kind of go something like this and track something like this, that brings snowfall to on the western and northwestern side of this, but also gives rainfall on the southeastern side. So this is why I think you're going to be seeing above average precipitation in these areas, where you could see a lot of rainfall in these areas. So definitely the possibility is there, and I'm not fully certain on that happening. So that's why you guys are only slightly above average, showing that I don't have the greatest confidence in that. But my confidence is fairly pretty good over these areas that you're going to see some pretty good precipitation this month in February. Now, for the north central United States and the Midwest, this is where my confidence is really pretty much pretty low over these areas because it's only a couple clippers that will put you guys above average as far as precipitation. So if you see a couple of clippers, definitely that's the reason I have you guys above average, because I think you might have a couple clippers that dip down through there. So definitely something that we'll have to watch, and definitely if you do see a couple snowstorms over those areas, I'll probably make a video on those. Now, we're going to get into your overall forecast here, what you guys have all been waiting for, and we're going to uncover what every single color means in just 1 second. So starting now with this warmer section here over parts of the northwest as well as parts of the south central United States, it is going to be warmer if you are in this gold color. And that doesn't mean it's going to be crazy warmth, but it's just going to be slightly above average in these areas, and that's really the most notable thing this month. It's not going to be too crazy of a month of February if you do live in these areas, so that's pretty much the only thing that's notable, I guess you could say, in those areas. Now, we even have a warm area in this orange, this darker orange, and this is where I think you're going to be seeing even warmer conditions if you do live in any of these areas. And that's for California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, and through southwesternmost Texas, where I think you're going to be seeing those warmer conditions again. And it is going to be even warmer. That's where you had those moderately above average conditions for the most part. So that's why I put you guys under warm conditions. Now, mountain snow, and I think you're even going to have increased mountain snow in these areas. You've had a very active start to the month over parts of the western United States as far as rainfall and snowfall, but definitely, I think it is going to increase as you get later on into parts of the month of February. Now we're going to get into your next region here, and this is going to be where I think you're going to see 1 or 2 snowstorms. Now we've seen 1 or 2 of these already in parts of into December and January, and I think it might actually occur again into February. So these areas definitely not out of the question that you see snowfall, but it's a possibility, and that's something I want to point out here on this overall forecast. Otherwise, it would have put you guys just under average. Nothing really too crazy to mention if you do live in those areas. Now, warmer and wet in this green area over the southeast and south central United States, where I think you're going to be wet, but you're also going to be warmer. You're going to have that slightly above average conditions riding all along the Gulf Coast and into parts of the southeastern coast as well. You will have those cold, wetter conditions as you get with those systems. You're going to get a lot of rainfall in these areas, and there are going to be quite a bit of systems that do track through that area, and that's why I did put you guys under that warmer and wet area. Now, drier conditions, kind of the opposite here. As you get into parts of Illinois, Indiana, and through parts of Missouri, even into parts of northern Arkansas and Oklahoma, as well as eastern Kansas, all seeing those drier conditions, and I think that is going to occur because you will have those cold shots. Now, cold air doesn't also mean snowstorms, as a lot of people associate. Cold air actually means drier air, which of course, that is going to lead to less snowstorms. So if you're right in the heart of that cold air, I don't think you're not going to get too many snowstorms. So if you do get some sort of Arctic blast, usually when you're right around that between about 25 to about 40 degrees, that's where you're seeing your storm system. So right along that area. So let's just give a theoretical example here. Let's say your jet stream is something like this, and you're seeing a storm that's going to track along this jet stream. You're going to have snow to the north of this, but you're also going to have rain to the south of this. So if you get this Arctic blast to plunge farther south, now your rain is going to be here, and maybe your snow will be here, depending on the atmosphere when this event does occur. So that's just a theoretical example explaining why I did put your drier conditions there for the central United States. Now, we have some cold shots here in this blue area over parts of the Midwest, and that's why I think you could even have some Arctic blast or maybe even a polar vortex. We'll definitely have to talk about that as we get closer to this event. But The potential is there, and that's why I'm just gonna put you guys under some cold shots. But definitely know the potential is there for some very brutal Arctic air over parts of the Midwest. Now we have some average conditions, nothing too notable in these areas, and we have two of these areas: one for the North Central and even into the Northern Rockies area, and then also one for the southeastern United States, where you are going to be average and nothing really too notable in these areas. We have above average lake effect. If you do live in any of the lake effect regions, your lakes are very warm for this time of year. Lake temperatures in some areas are right around 38, 39, 40 degrees. So if you do live in these areas, you know the drill. You're definitely not you're definitely accustomed to seeing the snowfall, so you're gonna have a little bit more of that in the month of February. Lakes are, I think, only about 10 to 15% frozen right now, or at least I saw that statistic about 2 weeks ago, so that might be a little bit outdated. But definitely, if you do live in those areas, tell me if that statistic is still generally up to date. But either way, your lakes aren't that frozen. Your lake should be well more frozen by this point. So it definitely is going to increase lake effect in these areas. You're going to have that moisture that gets fueled up into parts of the atmosphere, and that's going to also allow some of those snow showers to kind of move onto land, and that's how lake effect is formed, and that's why you're going to see a little bit more lake effect as you get into the month of February. A couple snowstorms here. We have two areas there for one for the Ohio Valley and one for the coastal Northeast and Mid Atlantic, where you are going to be seeing a couple snowstorms as well. You won't see it's not going to be too many snowstorms. I don't think you're not going to have too many systems tracking into the coastal northeast, but definitely not ruling out the possibility that you could see potentially a moderate event, maybe a major event, and we'll definitely talk about that as we get closer to those events. Now I just want to kind of leave that on the table there. Now, many snowstorms here for parts of the interior northeast, as well as the northern Appalachians and even parts of the Ohio Valley, where I think you're going to see those systems. Again, they're going to track through up the spine of the Appalachians. So kind of like that, we see multiple systems like this already, and we also have those systems that kind of form over Colorado and move out, and those also increase your snow potential for parts in the interior northeast. So that's why I put you guys under mini snowstorms. I think you're going to have multiple snowstorms over these areas, maybe 4 or 5 in the month of February. So we'll definitely have to see about that, and I'll definitely upload when you guys do see snowstorms. And as well, you're going to be seeing some of those areas are going to be seeing those snowstorms added on to those lake effect areas. So those areas will kind of get a double whammy, I guess you could say, if you do live in one of those areas. And definitely a lot of snow looks to occur in the month of February if you live in the interior northeast. Now that is gonna wrap up the video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turn on notifications as I do make these videos daily. Anyways, guys, that was Eli the Weather Guy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.